Hey everybody, it's Keagan here. I'm back with another video for you guys, and welcome back to another edition of Keagan's Movie Reviews. And today's film I'm going to be talking about is a film that I saw in theaters yesterday afternoon, and it's a film that actually just came out on Friday. And the film in question is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is the fifth and final film in the Indiana Jones franchise. Now, I talked about the first four Indiana Jones movies in another video that I did a little while ago, which if you want to check that video out first or you want to check it out after this video, I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to hear my thoughts on the other Indiana Jones films. Anyways, now unlike the first four Indiana Jones movies that were all directed by Steven Spielberg, Dial of Destiny was not directed by Steven Spielberg. Instead, it was directed by James Mangold, who was the same director of films like Logan, Walk the Line, Identity, and the 2007 remake of 3:10 to Yuma, among other things. And not only is this movie from a different director, but it's also the longest film in the franchise with a runtime of 154 minutes, making it the longest film in the whole franchise. Now, I didn't really have too big of high hopes for this movie when it was announced and when it was coming out. I enjoyed the first three Indiana Jones movies, while I like the first and third one the best. The second one, Temple of Doom, was pretty good. However, upon rewatching Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a little while ago, I enjoyed that one as a kid, but watching it as an adult, I can definitely see the problems with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I don't hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I thought that one was okay, but it definitely hasn't aged well. But when I was going to see Dial of Destiny, I was thinking it wasn't going to be any better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but at least it would be somewhat entertaining. Well, it was entertaining, but the film wasn't all that great. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But right now I'm going to give you a little bit of what the storyline is about, and then we'll get into my thoughts on this film. So let's just take a dive into Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. So Dial of Destiny takes place 12 years after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull ends in 1969. It follows a retired, divorced Indiana Jones, who is retired from being an archaeologist and is soon to be retired from being a professor at a university. And he's just trying to figure out what is he going to do with the remainder of his life now that he's retired. However, he gets pulled out of retirement by his goddaughter, Helena, played by Phobe Waller-Bridge. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. I don't know. So anyways, Indiana Jones is trying to help his goddaughter find the remaining pieces of an artifact that could change the course of history, while along the way he's trying to stop a Nazi turned scientist for NASA from trying to get the pieces of the artifact first and try to take over the world. Which, yes, he's technically fighting the Nazis again, which, unlike Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the previous film where he was against some Soviet Union agents who infiltrated the United States, he's fighting former Nazis, basically, like he did in the first three films. And while along the way of finding pieces of the artifact, he's reunited with some old allies and new, and he's just, well, I don't really think I really need to go any further into what the storyline's about. I'm sure you get it. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I didn't really have many high expectations for this movie. I didn't really expect it to surpass the first three films, which it would never surpass the first three films. I expected it to be somewhat entertaining and maybe better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Well, it did have its moments and it was entertaining at times. The film itself wasn't all that great, and it wasn't not even better than Crystal Skull. Now, there are some positives I have with this movie. The action sequences are pretty good. Harrison Ford is great as Indiana Jones, especially at 80 years old. He's still great as the character. The casting is pretty good, too. It's got Mads Mikkelsen as the lead villain, who I thought did a pretty good job as the villain. Unfortunately, the villain seemed a little bit generic, in my opinion, and just wasn't all that interesting. And when it gets to revealing what his motivation for the relic was about, I thought it was kind of dumb, in my opinion. It was like, are you serious? Like, that wasn't the worst motivation for a villain that I've seen, but it was kind of lame, though. Phobe Waller-Bridge does it pretty good as the goddaughter character. And, the set designs are pretty good, and the visuals are really nice. And, there is CGI in this movie, but I don't think there are as much CGI as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull did, but there is CGI in it. Only the CGI in Crystal Skull looks like shit. The CGI in this movie doesn't look too bad to me, but yeah. So those are, well, another positive, and this is the last positive I have with this movie, is that the music conducted by John Williams, who was a longtime collaborator with Steven Spielberg, who I believe is retiring after this movie. He's like 91. He did a really good job with the music in this movie, and I do believe this is his last movie being a composer for the score for a movie. But I'll say his music for this movie went really well, and I guess he went out with a bang. So those are really the positives I have with this movie. Now we get on to the negatives. The writing and the story is pretty forgettable. I just about forget about everything that's I just about forget almost everything that happened in the movie. Like, that's how forgettable the movie is. And there isn't really too many memorable parts in the films. Like, all the other Indiana Jones movies has moments that are memorable. Like, Raiders of the Lost Ark had the big boulder. Temple of Doom had the battle on the bridge around the end. And The Last Crusade, there's a lot of memorable moments in all the Indiana Jones movies, but one of the most memorable moments in The Last Crusade, I'd say, was the ending when they were riding on horseback to the sunset. I think that was a perfect end to the series. We'll get to that again in a moment. And while Kingdom of the Crystal Skull wasn't great, it did have a few memorable moments in that movie, like the Nuketown scene. I thought that scene was pretty cool, besides the CGI, and that scene looked like shit. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, Dial of Destiny doesn't have any scenes that are memorable like the first couple movies did. Well, yeah. Now I just want to say, I didn't hate this movie. It was entertaining. It had its moments, and there were some good parts in it, but overall, the film wasn't all that great, and I found it completely unnecessary. Like an unnecessary sequel, like the fourth movie did. Like, I'd say, like, the ending to The Last Crusade, like I mentioned earlier, like, that was a perfect ending to the series. Like, all the, like, Indiana Jones and company riding on horseback to the sunset. That was a perfect ending to the trilogy. And it should have just stayed as a trilogy. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny were two unnecessary sequels. I don't know why the hell they'd have to make them, but oh well, it is what it is. Well, I said earlier in the video I liked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as a kid, but watching it as an adult, I can definitely see the flaws with this movie. But Dial of Destiny, it's just one I probably would never watch again. Like, I didn't hate this movie, but I found it a completely unnecessary sequel that should have ended after the third film. And also, the ending, it wasn't very satisfying to me. It just wasn't very satisfying at all. But in the end, Dial of Destiny is not a terrible movie. It's not one I'd ever watch again. But I didn't hate it. It was okay, I guess. But if you like the film, I'm glad you enjoyed it. But personally, I just did not care for this movie. So I'm giving Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny a 5.9 out of 10. So yeah, that's all I got to say for this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe, turn on notifications, share the video with your friends, follow me on my other social medias, links are in the description down below. And what do you think of this movie? Let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, thanks again for watching. Hope you have a great day, and until next time, this is Keagan Shepherd signing off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace out. Bye bye.